Welcome back to Faster and Louder, guys. Today I'm finally getting new motor mounts. Alright, so in a past video I actually was talking about polyurethane motor mounts or solid motor mounts. And then I think that I also mentioned what I'm going to end up doing, which is using motor mounts from a 6-speed manual 6.1 Challenger car instead. Apparently they build them slightly different on those cars. They're kind of basically just heavy duty. I think it's to do with the stress of like the sudden like torque of a 6-speed. So anyways, I'm going to use those since there's really no affordable options for polyurethane. They do have polyurethane motor mounts I found, and they're through the company called Prothane, but they cost I think it's like $412 or something for the kit, and you have to specially order them off of their catalog. They don't even list them on the website, which I find odd. But anyways, yeah, I figured it would be a lot more affordable and worth my money to go with this option. It's about $120 or so for the pair, rather than $412. It's just not worth it to me. Hopefully we can do that. I'm going over to Ivan's house right now, to his garage, and we're gonna take a look at it. Oh shit, I thought I almost missed a donut place. That was about to be a catastrophe. So, yeah, I'm heading over to Ivan's house right now. We're gonna lift the engine up, try to just pop them in there without a whole lot of issue. But since I said that, it's gonna take at least 8 hours. Yeah, I don't know. I've been having this issue actually that I'm hoping will be taken care of after we do the motor mounts. So, when I originally got the cam swap done from the shop that's local around me, they said that it looked like the motor mount was like sagging kind of, and like originally he said it looked like it was sagging on the passenger side, which made sense because I kind of had an issue with the header like rattling on, like basically on the frame of the car on the bottom. So it made sense, you know, like, okay, it could be sagging on that side, and that's what's causing that. And that was pretty much the only issue, and it was only like sometimes you could like kind of hear like this weird like rattle ticking sound, and that's what I figured out it was, like, for sure later on. But I would say about 3 or 4 weeks after I got the cam swap, I had another issue with the headers that I didn't have initially, which was on the driver's side. It's very close to the steering column or steering shaft, whatever you want to call it. It was really close, and I wasn't having any issues, but like 3-4 weeks afterwards, I noticed, like, when I was going really slow around turns or whatever, I could feel certain spots in my turning the wheel. I could actually feel it like rubbing against the headers, the long tube headers. So that's annoying. And I believe it's just because the motor mounts are worn out. Like it's just kind of, I don't know if they're broken or if the cushion, like the rubber, is just squished. But I mean, it makes sense for the motor mounts to be bad, considering I got about almost 78,000 miles on the car. These are definitely factory motor mounts, and you know, I just did a cam swap, so it's got like an extra 80 horsepower or whatever. It's like that additional stress is gonna do stuff, especially to motor mounts. Like, that's the first piece on a car that's gonna have any additional stress. So I definitely think these motor mounts need to be switched. We're gonna do that hopefully today, and yeah, hopefully everything goes well. So enjoy the footage of us struggling. issue with the motor mount on this side. It's way down in there, and we need to move some stuff to get it out. So now we're working on the other side to get that one out, and then we're gonna hopefully pop them both in there. A little wiggly. That's not a ton of force.
There it is.
Oop, there it is. This one, I mean, just by looking at it, it doesn't really look like it's horrible, but yeah, pretty wobbly.
Yeah.
These are, you can just tell these are not as heavy duty.
Right.
So we have the driver's side done. See if you can, ow. You can't see shit really, but it's in there. Driver's side is good. That side was easier. We gotta get some more stuff out of the way on the passenger side, I believe. But yeah, these things are a lot tougher. These are the 6.1 Hemi motor mounts that went in 6-speed Challengers. So this is what they look like. Looks a lot different than the one that came with it. So this is the difference. They look nothing like the ones on the right. The ones on the right are factory. That's what's been in there for about 78,000 miles. This is the new design. So I believe these are hydraulic filled. And these I think are just all rubber. I don't think that there's anything in, it's not encapsulated or anything in these. So these are kind of just old school style. But yeah, these are definitely more robust looking, at least, and hopefully it's gonna make a difference. Hopefully I'll get some clearance back around my headers, also keep it off of the rails, frame rails on the passenger side and whatnot. So far so good. Alright, so we did fix the motor mounts, got the new ones in, but now we have a couple problems, so let's get into that. Uh-oh. I think the battery's dead. Oh, fuck. God damn it. This is what happens when you don't drive your car. Big time charm. So we're moving again. Yeah, I kind of lied a little bit when I said it was just a few days. It was more like a week, and I haven't driven the car since we did the motor mounts. And it's mostly because I've been pretty annoyed by the whole process, actually. Okay, let's just start off with the good things. All right, the good thing is these motor mounts are definitely noticeably tighter feeling, like they're more responsive, which is really good. But I have a theory, which is unfounded really, but I have a theory that these motor mounts are actually like dimensionally smaller, like tighter, possibly towards the engine, than the regular motor mounts that come on this car. Like, they bolt right up. Like, the way it bolts into the like the mounts, like the metal mounts, like coming off the block, like all that stuff mounts exactly the same. But I think that it's smaller somehow, because okay, here's why I think that is the factor, like what's going on here. I think that my original motor mounts were like okay condition when I got the cam put on, and that's why I didn't have any header rub like when I was turning or anything. And then, you know, more power equals more stress on a lot of components and everything. So I'm thinking the motor mounts got a little bit more worn out and they started to sag or whatever, which is pretty obvious by what we saw in the video so far. And it started rubbing. So I think that these, even though they're brand new, I think that they might be just slightly smaller dimensionally, and it's causing it to rub the same way that the worn out motor mounts are doing, which isn't really necessarily a problem with the motor mounts. I think it's more or less an issue with my Chinese headers. I mean, if you had to blame anybody for something not fitting correctly, I think it would be the headers, right? I mean, these were technically designed to fit right in here. Everything is the same, but damn, that guy was flying. But I think that it's the headers, and it pains me to say it because when I first put them in there, it was good. You know, I put on the channel that, you know, everything seems to be good, and it was. I mean, there's a couple little things, like it is super close to like the body on the passenger side on the bottom, like where it comes down and starts going straight towards the back. So that's been a problem, and technically I think I could like pop these headers loose and just beat the crap out of them and get it to the point where it's not rubbing on the steering shaft, and maybe even clear up some space on the passenger side. But the dilemma I'm having right now is it worth getting under the car, popping stuff loose again, like beating the crap out of it for who knows how long, or should I go through almost the same amount of trouble and just get like some cheap long tube headers? I'm kind of at a point with this car, like just overall, where it's like, yes, it would be cool to do more stuff to it. Yes, it would be more fun for sure, but it's also going to cost me more money and more time, and it's just not a thing that's available to me right now. So I don't know. I think you guys should help me decide. Should I just pop these headers loose and just beat them up, try to get them to work better? Or should I just kind of let it sit for a while and maybe get some cheap long tube headers, like some BBKs or something? Those are both valid options. I just don't know which one I want to do right now, and I'm kind of irritated that we've spent so much time. I mean, just between putting these headers on, I mean, we had the shorty headers first of all, then the long tube headers, then the motor mount change. We've probably spent like 15 or 20 hours at least just between headers and motor mounts, and it's not even over yet. It feels almost exactly the same as it did before with the old worn out motor mounts. I mean, I'm at 77,612 miles on my car right now, and you know, I did a cam swap, so I'm not surprised the original ones wore out, but it's just so annoying. Like, went through the process, got these motor mounts. These are thankfully not very expensive, all things considered. I did some shopping around. I think I got these for like $120 for the pair, so not super expensive. That's only maybe like $30 or $40 more for the pair than like the regular OEM replacements. So it's definitely worth it. As far as actual motor mounts go, like I say, go for it. But if you're planning on these Chinese motor mounts, you got to do one of two things. I would try one of two things. First thing is, I would try maybe, like, if it doesn't matter so much to you, just get the regular OEM style replacement and just see how that does. I have a feeling that might be a variable that I'm missing here. Or be ready to beat the crap out of them and make them fit right. Like, they bolt up fine and it's okay, but like, you're making up for the price difference with having to like just mess with it. So if you're like in the garage and you're comfortable doing that kind of thing, or you just have the time to mess with it, then go for it. I might be worth it for you, but in my case, it's just less and less worth it as time goes on. And like, you know, that's kind of the point of my channel a little bit, is to just try out stuff and see if it works. You know, like I never really saw anybody else on YouTube trying out these eBay headers, so I figured I would give it a shot. So at least now you know before you go out and buy these things. It annoys me, like coming from a stop, I can feel it. It's right off of center. I can just feel it. It's like it's going over a bump, and it's just like grinds my gears a little bit. But anyways, that's I'm kind of treating this as the long-term review on the headers and my short-term review on the motor mounts. I think motor mounts are great. Headers, not so much. You definitely have to put some work into it in order to get them to fit right. So you can take that however you want to. But that's pretty much it, guys. Really appreciate you watching. Have a good one.